The Mi-24P HFS 80 is the recently introduced German Tier 6 premium helicopter. I want to say at the start of this video that this helicopter is not worth the nearly 9,000 Golden Eagles asking price. That being said, if you'd like to know more about this helicopter's performance, then stay around for the rest of the video. Alright lads, in this video I'll be going over the Mi-24P's weapons, performance and playstyle in both ground realistic and helicopter enduring confrontation. The Mi-24P is a rank 6 battle rating 9.7 premium helicopter found within the German tech tree. You receive an RP booster of 642% as well as a Silver Lion booster of 810%. As I mentioned in the introduction, this helicopter costs nearly 9,000 Golden Eagles, or 8,730 to be exact. If you have no Golden Eagles on your account and wanted to buy this helicopter, you'd be spending the best part of $50 to buy it. And as this helicopter is bought for Golden Eagles, and not from a pack on the Guardian store, you do not get the 15 days of premium and the 2,000 Golden Eagles, typical for all the other recent premium helicopters in the game. The Mi-24P HFS 80 itself is a direct copy and paste of the East German Mi-24P, already found in the regular German tech tree, the only difference being the camouflage. The HFS 80 refers to the unit this helicopter served in. HFS 80, or Heeresfliegerstaffel, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but I'm British. The unit was formed after the unification of Germany and comprised solely of the older East German helicopters. The red, yellow and blue stripes on this helicopter's camouflage are the colours of the HFS 80 unit. Other than the camouflage, there is no difference whatsoever between the premium and the tech tree Mi-24P. My first gripe with this helicopter is its flight performance. When you spawn into a game, you'll find it is very hard to take off in the traditional vertical manner. Instead, put your collective to about 15% and allow your RPMs to rise. Then point your cursor down, allowing the chopper to roll forward on its landing gear. When moving at around 50 to 60 km per hour, put your collective up to around 85% and you should easily lift off. The issue here is the helicopter's weight. The Mi-24 series of helicopters were designed to be both gunships and troop transports at the same time, meaning they had to carry a lot of armour, weapons and ammunition. This means the Mi-24s were not designed to be manoeuvrable, and this is reflected in the game. I describe this helicopter more of a flying brick with guns. But to be fair to the Mi-24, it is fast in a straight line, but once you are moving, you are pretty much unable to turn effectively. This makes it incredibly hard to aim the chopper's fixed guns, as once the chopper is moving forward, its nose is incredibly reluctant to turn. The helicopter also suffers badly from transmission overload, or rotor stalls. If you don't significantly drop your collective pitch during even slight turns, your RPMs will drop down massively, and you may be unable to get them back up in time. I've died quite a few times to this. The poor flight characteristics of the Mi-24P mean it is very hard to compete with other player-flown helicopters, and if you choose to attack AI ground targets, you will find it very hard to make fine adjustments to your aim due to the poor ability to yaw left or right. In summary, the performance of this helicopter is completely out of the meta. The Mi-24 is in a similar position to the British Challenger 2. It has good armour but very poor mobility. The same way the Challenger 2 gets flanked by faster, more responsive main battle tanks, the Mi-24P gets outmanoeuvred by the smaller, faster and more nimble dedicated attack helicopters. The next section will be dedicated to the armament of this helicopter, and like the performance section, it's a bit of a letdown. Being a helicopter of Soviet origin, you get a wide selection of ordnance, the least effective of which being the dumb bombs. You are able to carry either 2 500 or 4 250 kg bombs. These bombs can be taken out alone or with combinations of other weapons I will talk about shortly. I highly recommend not using any of these bombs. The current spam of radar spags mean you will never get close enough to an enemy to use them in ground realistic battles, and if you do get close enough, you will probably end up blowing your own tail off in the process. A better alternative to dumb bombs are rockets. You can carry far more, and they allow you to engage enemies from a lot further away. The rockets available are the S8KOs, armed with high explosive anti-tank warheads, giving you 400mm of penetration at all ranges against flat armour. These rockets are very effective against soft targets in Heli EC, and if you can get shots into a tank's side, they are also pretty useful in ground realistic battles. That being said, like the dumb bombs, getting close to the enemy spawn will just make you an easy target for an ADATS or a Tunguska. Ideally, you want to engage targets from as far away as possible, which is where your air-to-ground missiles come in. You get access to up to 4 Sturm missiles. These are optically guided, meaning you will have to manually lead them to targets. The Sturms have a range of 5 km and have 560mm of penetration at all ranges. These missiles are quite underwhelming, both due to the fact you can only carry 4, as well as the penetration being quite mediocre for a 9.7 helicopter. For example, the G-Lynx can carry 8 Hellfires with 1100mm of penetration, and the Tiger HAP can carry 8 Hot 3s with 1250mm of penetration. Both of these helicopters are at a similar battle rating, and not only do they have better weapons, but they also have better flight characteristics. The Mi-24P also gets access to 2 different air-to-air missiles. The first and basically useless missile is the R60. This is a rear aspect only missile, meaning it can only lock onto enemies from the rear. As this is a premium and you already have the second air-to-air missile unlocked, there is no reason at all to use the R60. The second and more useful missile is the R60M, a modification of the first missile, gaining the all aspect lock ability, something which is crucial for dogfighting in Heli EC. The R60Ms have a rear aspect lock of 5 km and an all aspect lock range of 2 km, meaning you will have to get uncomfortably close to enemy helicopters to engage them from the front. Whilst the R60Ms are an improvement, they are still incredibly lackluster when compared to the NATO air-to-air missiles found at a similar battle rating. Again, the G-Lynx gets access to 4 Stingers with an all aspect lock range of 4.5 km. Literally double the range of your R60Ms. So just like the other 9.7 premiums outperform you, they also outgun you, both in air-to-air and air-to-ground. The last suspended weaponry loadout is 8 additional 23mm guns, spread across 4 pods. These are essentially a meme and aren't useful against anything, due to their high recoil and very limited ammo count. That wraps it up for our suspended weaponry. When in battles, both in EC and ground realistic, I highly recommend you use the last weapons option in the drop down menu, taking 4 R60Ms, 4 Sturm missiles and 40 SHKO rockets. For defense against enemy air-to-air missiles, you also get flares, a healthy dose of 192 in total. These flares don't seem to be that effective, and I get shot down regularly even after deploying more than 10 in a short time. It's just another reason that this helicopter is incredibly stressful to fly. The last weapon available to the Mi-24 are the 2 fixed 30mm chain guns located on the right side of the nose. You can select a high or low rate of fire, using high when engaging enemy helis and low for when you are attacking ground targets. When the 30mm cannon hits, it one-hits most things. The problem is that they are fixed guns. This, combined with the issue of the heli being incredibly unresponsive, mean they are very hard to aim, especially if you are trying to get guns on a very manoeuvrable enemy chopper. In update 1.91, night battles were added to the game, and the occurrence of night battles has recently been increased. I'd say 1 in 5 games are now night maps. This isn't an issue when playing in the G-Lynx or Tiger, as they both have night vision and thermal imaging for their gun cameras. The Mi-24P does not. It doesn't even have night vision in the gun camera. This means it's pretty much impossible to get your guns on a target if you spawn into a night map. You literally cannot see anything on the ground to engage, making you pretty much dead weight to your team. To conclude this video, there really aren't any positives to this helicopter. There is nothing this helicopter can do better than any of the other premiums. Sure, it can carry a higher payload, but most of the payload you can carry is either borderline useless or completely outclassed. The incredibly mediocre weapons would be forgivable if the Mi-24P had good performance, allowing you to put yourself in positions to best utilise your lacklustre weapons, but it just doesn't. I can't decide what's worse, the unresponsiveness when trying to turn, or the constant rotor stalls. I think of myself as a pretty decent helicopter pilot, and there's always room for improvement, but I've literally fallen out of the sky several times. Even basic manoeuvres like climbing and descending over cover to fire a missile can cause a rotor stall. Now most of that is down to me being inexperienced with the Soviet gunship style helicopter, But if the Mi-24P has awful guns and awful performance, why would anyone fly this, or more importantly, pay for this, over the other premiums such as a G-Lynx or Tiger? The lack of thermal and night vision is just the cherry on top of the reasons this helicopter is underwhelming. It makes it pretty much completely unusable in ground realistic in night maps. All of these factors combined mean the Mi-24P HFS 80 is not new player friendly, and if you want to retain good mental health, the Mi-24P isn't any player friendly. You are however quite limited for alternatives. The only other German premium is the BO105. I don't own this premium personally, so I do not feel qualified to compare the two. There certainly is an argument that the new premiums such as the Tiger HAP and G-Lynx have completely unbalanced the helicopters in the game. And that is the reason this helicopter performs so poorly on comparison, and that certainly is true. But with the announcement of the new Russian and presumed American Tier 7 helicopters, the problem is only going to get worse. How can Gaijin ask you to pay nearly 9,000 Golden Eagles, or roughly $50, for this helicopter is beyond me, especially when you could get either the G-Lynx or the Tiger for the same price. I do not recommend buying this helicopter for its full price, and I think the price should be dropped significantly. If you get a heavy discount, or it is ever put on sale, for more than around 50% off, I'd say it's worth considering. Part of my motivation for making this video was how much of a bad experience I've had flying this helicopter, and more importantly, the money I wasted. This isn't a particularly unbiased review, and I could use more practice flying it, but I hope you found this video informative, and thank you very much for watching.